Have you been feeling off lately? Not in a dramatic way, just unsettled. Like something's shifting beneath the surface, but no one around you seems to notice. Maybe you've caught yourself zoning out more than usual, feeling waves of emotion that don't make sense, or waking up from dreams that linger like smoke. If so, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not wrong. Most people believe the storm is over. The eclipses have passed, March 14th and March 29th came and went, and now everything should be settling down. But here's the truth no one's telling them: this week isn't a return to normal. It's the moment when everything that's been building finally begins to land. Welcome to the second week of April. Welcome to the aftershock. The sky may look calmer, but energetically, we're just getting started. The moon is still holding the frequencies it gathered during the eclipse portal, and now it's releasing them, not randomly, but with precision. That release doesn't happen in the sky. It happens in you. Your emotions, your thoughts, your sleep patterns, even the way people react to you this week, it's all part of something larger. Something sacred. Something seismic. And the strange part? It's not loud. It's subtle, personal, and coded to your frequency. This week isn't just another week. It's a spiritual recalibration. A quiet confrontation. A soft, holy unraveling of who you thought you were, so the real version of you can finally arrive. And it all begins on Monday, April 7th. You might wake up today feeling like you've already lived this moment before. Not just a passing déjà vu, but a deep familiarity, as if the air, the silence, the heaviness in your chest is echoing something long buried. And maybe it is. Emotions today won't play fair. One moment you may feel strangely calm, like you're finally breathing again after weeks of intensity. But just as quickly, a wave of something else rises: grief, irritation, even sorrow you can't name. It hits hard, and you don't know why. The smallest things might unravel you. A scent, a song, a memory you didn't mean to revisit. This is no coincidence. The moon is in Cancer today, and it's not here to play gentle. It's stirring the roots, pulling at core-level emotions tied to family, childhood, and vulnerability, especially themes around mothering energy, protection, safety, and where you learn to hide your softest parts. Old wounds you thought had closed may ache again, not because you're regressing, but because you're finally strong enough to look at them clearly. Dreams last night may have been intense, symbolic, or emotionally loaded. You might have woken up with a strange pressure in your chest, or a memory so vivid you had to check if it really happened. Pay attention to what lingers. These aren't random mental artifacts, these are shadow echoes. The pieces of your past that still live inside your body, now coming forward to be seen and released. You may feel watched today. Not in a fearful way, but in a way that reminds you, the veil is thin. Synchronicities will begin to cluster. A phrase someone says may hit too perfectly. Numbers appear again and again. The world feels symbolic, because it is. Something unseen is leaning closer, watching how you move through this. Energetically, the day may feel slow. Heavy. Like spiritual gravity has increased. You might feel like you're walking through fog, or like your limbs are heavier than usual. That's because your body is doing something your mind can't yet see. It's integrating. We've passed through powerful eclipse portals. Now your nervous system, your emotional body, your spirit, they're all syncing up with what was revealed. Don't rush this. Let yourself feel messy, unmotivated, emotional, nostalgic. Let the tears come if they need to. Let the memories rise if they knock at your door. This isn't regression. It's realignment. Today marks the beginning of the internal phase of this cosmic transformation. Not the flashy, external kind. The deep, cellular, invisible kind, the kind that changes who you are from the inside out. So be gentle with yourself today. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. April 8, 2025, the fog of realignment. You might wake up today with a strange kind of weariness, the kind that doesn't feel physical, but existential. It's not the result of overworking or a bad night's sleep. It's something deeper. A fog that seems to sit just behind your eyes, dulling your thoughts, slowing your steps, making you question whether you're simply tired, or if something unseen is pulling you inward. This isn't fatigue in the usual sense. It's not burnout or emotional collapse. It's your spirit rebalancing. What you're experiencing is the soft hum of spiritual integration, the invisible labor your soul is doing to make sense of what's been stirred up by the eclipse portal. You've just crossed through a corridor of intense cosmic energy. The lunar eclipse on March 14 opened something. The solar eclipse on March 29 sealed something in. And now here you are, in the quiet between waves, where everything that was disrupted begins to settle, but not comfortably. Not all at once. Your body may feel heavier today, like gravity has intensified. Your thoughts may drift. Time might feel slippery, fast and slow at once. You may catch yourself forgetting simple things, walking into rooms and not knowing why. You're not losing focus. You're being recalibrated. Your nervous system, your emotional memory, your inner compass, they're all adjusting to match the new frequency that's been seeded within you. Last night's dreams might have been strange, symbolic, even unsettling. You may have visited old places, spoken to people you haven't seen in years, or found yourself trapped in loops, reliving the same scene with slightly different variations. Pay attention. These are not just dreams, they are tests. Soft simulations designed by your subconscious to show you where the cracks still live in your foundation. Where fear still lingers. Where desire is still tangled with regret. Even during waking hours, those dreamlike echoes will remain. You might hear something in a conversation that feels strangely pointed, like it was meant for you, even if the person speaking had no idea. Someone might say something casual, but it lands in your chest with weight. The universe is whispering not through signs in the sky today, but through the mouths of people and the spaces between words. Listen closely. This is a day where nothing quite feels right, and that's okay. Because right is being rewritten. You're not supposed to feel like your old self right now. That version of you isn't gone, but it's shedding. Softly. Slowly. In layers. And that process often feels like being underwater, not because you're drowning, but because you're becoming fluid. Unformed. Ready to be shaped into something new. Don't force clarity today. Don't demand motivation. Let the fog be there. Let it surround you. This is your cocoon. And yes, it may be uncomfortable. But inside this stillness, a new structure is forming, a more honest alignment between who you are, what you've lived through, and who you are becoming. So give yourself space. Rest if you need to. Withdraw if you feel called. You are not avoiding life, you are preparing to re-enter it more aligned. The soul works in silence, in slowness, in sensations that can't be described. Honor that today. Not by doing more, but by surrendering to the energy that's already doing its work inside you. April 9, 2025, Hidden Triggers Surface. There's something in the air today, thick, unspoken, just beneath the surface. You may not notice it right away, but it will find you. A glance that lingers too long. A text that feels colder than it should. A harmless comment that lands like a stone in your chest. You might tell yourself you're overreacting, that you're being too sensitive, but deep down, you know better. Because it's not really about this moment. It's about everything that was never resolved before it. Today's lunar alignment presses emotional pressure points, specifically the ones you thought were long healed. With the moon in a tense square to Mercury, communication gets tangled, emotions get misdirected, and even the simplest interaction can trigger something ancient. It's not just a bad mood. It's not just miscommunication. It's the energy bringing suppressed emotion into the open, and it doesn't ask for your permission to do so. You may find yourself easily annoyed, defensive, reactive. The words come out faster than you intended, or sharper than you meant. Maybe someone you love says something small, something they didn't think twice about, and suddenly, you're spiraling into a memory, a wound, a feeling you thought you'd buried years ago. That's how this energy works. It sneaks in through the ordinary and pulls on the invisible threads that have been quietly unraveling you from the inside. Others around you may be going through the same thing. They may lash out without warning, confess something they've been holding in, or emotionally withdraw with no clear explanation. Don't take it personally, but don't ignore it either. Everyone is walking around with exposed nerves today, whether they realize it or not. The past is bleeding into the present. And it wants to be seen. This isn't about conflict. It's about confrontation with self. The confrontation that happens when something small touches something unresolved. The thing you've been avoiding. The thing that still owns a piece of your heart, or your voice, or your sense of safety. That thing is surfacing, not to punish, but to release. And release always feels uncomfortable at first. It might show up as tears you didn't expect. As anger that surprises you. As silence you don't know how to break. You might feel like you're being pulled back into an old version of yourself you thought you'd outgrown, and that can be deeply unsettling. But what if that version is appearing because it needs closure? What if your reaction isn't regression, but your body's way of asking you to finally let go? Don't rush to fix the emotion. Just observe it. Be still enough to notice where it lives in your body. Is it in your chest? Your jaw? Your stomach? What does it want to say, that you've silenced for so long? Because today isn't asking you to solve your story. It's asking you to feel it honestly, without shame, without judgment, without needing to make it disappear. There is gold in the discomfort. Every reaction is a clue. Every moment of miscommunication is a mirror. And every trigger is a teacher, pointing you toward a deeper layer of truth you've been circling but never quite touched. So if things feel fragile today, let them. If conversations feel heavier than they should, lean in. And if emotions rise from places you don't fully understand, bless them. Because the moon is pulling from the parts of you you've left untouched, and what's surfacing isn't weakness, it's the doorway to healing. April 10, 2025, Dream Simulation Activation. Sleep no longer feels like rest, it feels like mission. If you've been waking up more tired than when you went to bed, there's a reason. Your nights are no longer a place of stillness. They've become a training ground, a dimension of decoding, where your spirit is being tested in ways your conscious mind can't always grasp. You may find yourself dreaming of people you haven't seen in years, old friends, ex-lovers, childhood acquaintances, faces that seem to rise from nowhere. Or perhaps you're walking through the same hallway over and over, entering the same room again and again, unable to find the exit. There may be strange loops, symbols that don't make sense, situations that feel familiar yet distorted, like you're stuck in some spiritual feedback loop that refuses to let you wake until it's complete. These are not just dreams. They're energetic diagnostics. Your subconscious is being scanned, tested, challenged. And the scenarios you find yourself in, whether they're absurd, emotional, or terrifying, are coded messages from your deeper self. They're revealing where your healing is still incomplete, where your inner child still hides, where your power is still fragmented. What makes you freeze in a dream? What makes you run? What makes you lash out, or stay silent, or watch yourself from a distance? These responses aren't meaningless, they're maps. They show where trauma still lives, where your voice was stolen, where shame still shadows your choices. The dream doesn't care about logic. It cares about response. Because that response is the unfiltered truth of what you still carry. You might find yourself in dreams where you're being watched, judged, or expected to prove yourself. You might feel like you're constantly trying to pass some invisible test. That's because you are. These simulations are measuring not your performance, but your readiness. Readiness to step into what the eclipses have unlocked. Readiness to break the patterns you've repeated for lifetimes. Readiness to face what you've feared in silence. Some of these dreams will feel realer than reality. You may wake up with tears in your eyes, or the echo of someone's voice still in your ears. You might carry a lingering emotion all day, unable to shake it. That emotion is your clue. That's where the message is. Don't dismiss what you see. Don't shrug off what you feel. And don't assume that just because the dream was strange, it wasn't significant. These nights are not passive. They are part of the spiritual recalibration happening across this entire week. The veil is thin. Your defenses are down. And the truth can finally reach you, if you're willing to listen. When you wake, don't rush into the day. Sit for a moment. Close your eyes. Ask, what was I shown? What emotion won't leave me? What pattern keeps repeating? Then write it down. Some of these dreams won't make sense until weeks later. Others will hit like prophecy, showing you things before they happen. But all of them serve a purpose, to reveal what your waking mind is still trying to avoid. You are not just dreaming. You are being shown the next steps in your evolution, disguised in the language of symbols, shadow, and soul. April 11th, 2025, Fire beneath the surface. There's a quiet tension building today. Not the kind that shouts or demands your attention, but the kind that hums beneath your skin, hot, subtle, electric. You might not see it reflected in the world around you, but inside, something is waking up. Something you thought you could keep buried a little longer. But now, it won't stay still. Mars begins to stir again, gently but deliberately pushing against the moon's emotional field. The result? A growing sense of urgency. A restlessness that arrives without clear direction. You may feel pulled to act, to create, to move, but without knowing where or why. It can be exhilarating, or maddening. It might feel like standing on the edge of a decision you haven't made yet, a path you can't see but feel compelled to walk. This isn't a day of chaos. It's a day of internal combustion. The kind that starts small, like a whisper in the gut, and gradually spreads, setting off sparks in places you've been avoiding. You may suddenly feel that you can't delay anymore. That something must shift, be said, be started. It may not be logical. It may not even make sense. But the pressure is real. This is not a sign to rush. It's a sign to listen, carefully, honestly, without filters. The fire you feel isn't here to push you into reckless motion. It's here to illuminate what's been stagnant. That creative idea you've been sitting on. That conversation you've been postponing. That decision you keep putting off because you're scared of what it might change. Today, those things start to rise, not with force, but with insistence. Gentle, persistent insistence. And this is where the test begins. Because Mars doesn't just ignite, it tests your relationship to your own power. Can you hold the fire without being consumed by it? Can you let the urgency rise without turning it into chaos? Can you feel the pressure without needing to explode? Some of you will experience this as a breakthrough. A flash of clarity. A surge of inspiration. A moment of undeniable courage that shifts your direction, even if only by one small but critical degree. You'll know it's real because it feels right in your bones, even if it scares you. Others may feel overwhelmed, short-fused, agitated for no clear reason. That's not failure. It's the fire trying to get your attention. Let it speak, but don't let it take the wheel. This is a day to remain rooted in your body. Stay hydrated. Breathe deeply. Touch the earth. Talk less, listen more. Let the fire burn through you, not against you. There's something inside you that's been quietly preparing to move. It's been whispering beneath your doubt, waiting for the right energetic window to rise. And today, the window begins to open, not wide, not yet, but enough for you to feel the heat. What you do with that heat is up to you. April 12, 2025, the energy builds in silence. Today, the sky is quiet. No dramatic alignments. No harsh aspects. No planetary fireworks to mark your calendar. And yet, something about this day feels off. Suspended. Hollow. Like time itself has paused mid-breath, waiting for something to land. You may wake up with an eerie sense of clarity, like your mind is wide open, but you don't know what you're supposed to do with it. Or you may feel disoriented, detached from your routines, unable to connect to the world in the usual way. It's a strange dissonance. The outside world moves normally, but your inner world feels like it's standing on the edge of a threshold. And nothing seems to fully ground. This is what happens when energy builds silently. It doesn't arrive with a bang, it arrives like mist in the lungs, like pressure in the atmosphere that hasn't released yet. Your body knows it's coming. Your spirit feels the tremble. Your intuition, even if quiet, is on high alert. And yet, there's nothing to fix. No obvious cause. No clear action. Just the stillness. Just the waiting. But don't mistake this stillness for absence. Don't assume nothing is happening because nothing is loud. Today's energy is subtle, sacred, and precise. This is the space between inhale and exhale, the pocket where alignment begins, not by doing, but by receiving. The insights that couldn't reach you earlier, because you were too distracted, too reactive, are now hovering just above the surface. They are waiting for your stillness. They are waiting for you to listen. This is a perfect day to unplug from noise, both digital and emotional. To journal without agenda. To walk in silence. To sit under the sky and just breathe. Ground yourself, through your senses, your breath, your body. Let the energy that's been stirred this week finally begin to land. Truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, and today, those whispers are everywhere. This is not a day for answers. It's a day for allowing the right questions to rise. So let yourself drift a little. Let the silence stretch. Let the not knowing be okay. Because the clarity you seek may not arrive in words, but in the feeling that something has shifted inside you, gently, permanently, in the quiet. You are not lost. You are being realigned in the absence of noise. And tomorrow, the next door opens. April 13th, 2025, the veil opens. There's a softness to the air today, as if something invisible is resting just beneath the surface of everything. You may wake up feeling like the world has lost some of its edges, like time is moving differently, or like your body is here but your spirit is hovering slightly above it. This is not disconnection, it's attunement. You are more sensitive, more open, more permeable to what lies just beyond the veil, because today, the veil itself is thinner than it has been in weeks. The moon, now forming a flowing trine to Neptune, is awakening your intuitive body, and calling forward everything that exists beyond language. You may experience spontaneous insight, a sudden knowing that lands without explanation, or a moment of emotional clarity that breaks open a memory you thought was long forgotten. These are not passing thoughts, they are spiritual instructions, arriving through subtle delivery. They come in the form of inner nudges, symbolic encounters, and sacred interruptions in the ordinary rhythm of your day. This is the energetic climax of the week, but it's not loud. It won't shake you like the eclipses did. It will reach into you quietly, revealing what you are finally ready to receive. Conversations today may carry more weight than expected. Someone may say something that shifts your entire emotional landscape, without even knowing why. You might recall something from childhood that suddenly makes sense in a whole new way. Or you might feel a calm but certain sense that you are no longer where you used to be, even if nothing external has changed. That is the echo of eclipse season still vibrating through your soul, clearing space for the next version of you to land. If you feel disoriented, dreamy, or emotionally raw today, let it be. You're not broken. You're not unfocused. You're standing in the space between worlds, and your nervous system is simply adjusting to the higher frequency moving through you. Pay close attention to what feels sacred today. That doesn't have to mean religious or dramatic. It might be the moment you step into sunlight and feel something unlock in your chest. It might be the tears that arrive mid-silence, with no clear trigger. It might be a piece of music, a quiet sentence, or the feeling of being seen without words. These are moments when the veil opens, and if you're aware enough to notice them, you're already walking through it. If this week has felt strange, suspended, or emotionally unpredictable, know that you're not imagining things, and you're not regressing. You are still inside the energetic chamber that the eclipses opened. You are still being rewritten by what was activated in March. The internal shifts are still unfolding, and your system is doing everything it can to catch up with what your soul already agreed to become. This isn't about closure. It's about emergence. And like anything sacred, that emergence doesn't happen all at once, it happens through layered discomfort, dreamy stillness, and moments of quiet remembering. You don't need to understand everything right now. You don't need to find the perfect words to explain what you've been feeling. Let the transformation stay wordless for now. Let the fog be part of the clarity that's still forming. And don't rush your emotional process, because those feelings you've been carrying this week are not here to derail you. They are here to guide you. Your triggers, your dreams, your restlessness, your insight, they are all pointing toward the version of you that is ready to live differently, lead differently, feel more honestly, and listen more deeply. So listen. Not just to what others say, but to what keeps repeating inside you. To the signs that come in unlikely places. To the energy that enters a room before anyone speaks. If something this week has stirred you, a phrase, a dream, a strange but undeniable knowing, write it down. Say it aloud. Share it in the comments if you feel called. When we speak what we've seen, we help others see too. And this week has not been about moving on from anything. It has been about returning to yourself through layers you didn't know were waiting to be touched. You are not the same as you were before the eclipses. And you're not meant to be. So let this week end with reverence. Let your questions remain open. Let your becoming continue, even if you don't yet know what it looks like. You're not returning to who you were. You're becoming who you were always meant to be.